Did watching Scorpion's Revenge ignite your passion for Mortal Kombat? The lore behind this popular franchise is extensive to say the least, and if you need a quick refresher about the Elder Gods and why there are 2 Sub-Zeros, we'll help you out. Let's take a look at the timeline of the series, and we'll even talk about a few seeming inconsistencies here and there. Alright, Mortal Kombat fans, strap in because we have a lot to go over since this story has been ongoing since 1992. Let's start out by setting the scene back in, say the beginning of time. There was the ultra-powerful One Being who fed on the Elder Gods, and the Elder Gods who weren't a fan of this particular tradition. So they created the powerful Kamidogu to defeat the One Being, whose body was split into 6 different pieces, which then became 6 different realms. There's Earthrealm, which is more or less similar to our own planet, except with more Saurians running around. Then there's the Netherrealm, which is the Mortal Kombat version of the Underworld, complete with volcanoes and lava pits, and the aggressive Outworld, whose inhabitants were constantly fighting. We also have the Order Realm, or Sado, which is pretty much the exact opposite of the Chaos Realm. You can probably figure out those 2 on your own. And finally, we have Edenia, which is supposed to be like the gorgeous and peaceful Garden of Eden. Now that the scene is officially set, let's move on to the story of Onaga the Dragon King, who wasn't satisfied with ruling the Outworld and set to bring the other realms under his control. The more worlds he conquered, the greater his power, and soon he seemed completely invincible, especially since he was able to resurrect his soldiers should they fall in battle. But he wanted a taste of that sweet, sweet immortality, so he transferred himself into a dragon egg and Shao Kahn took over as the ruler of Outworld. In an effort to make this arrangement more, permanent, he poisoned Onaga, but wasn't able to maintain control of his domain, although that didn't stop him from continuously trying to obtain new realms. Back in those days, prophecies were all the rage, and there was one interesting one in particular known as the Prophecy of Armageddon. According to this, if the Mortal Kombat warriors weren't kept in check, they'd grow too powerful and ultimately tear the universe apart with their might. That actually sounds pretty awesome. But the Elder Gods didn't think so and came up with a plan to prevent this possible future. The Edenian god Argus made a pyramid, while his wife Delia created a fire spawn called Blaze, who would be theoretically powerful enough to stop the Mortal Kombat warriors. Argus was all for destroying them outright, but Delia pleaded mercy and they ended up sending their sons, Taven and Dagon, on a quest to decide the outcome. Argus placed his kids in stasis, set up some dragon guards, and sat back to see what would happen. Now, during this time, the Elder Gods were watching this all unfold, and while they were wise, they weren't necessarily benevolent. Case in point, Shinnok, that son of a gun. This evildoer wanted Earthrealm for himself, but the problem was that it was commanded by the god of thunder, a guy you might have heard of by the name of Raiden. So Shinnok tricked the dragon Karo into waking up Dagon and convinced him that his parents were against him. Dagon eliminated his parents, thus weakening Edenia enough to allow Shao Kahn to invade it. Whoops! Meanwhile, Shinnok fought against Raiden in a battle which nearly wiped out Earth entirely and definitely set things back a few centuries. But thankfully, Raiden discovered Shinnok had a connection to an amulet, and once he took it, he and the Elder Gods banished Shinnok to the Netherrealm and began to rebuild enough to get the attention of Shao Kahn. Listen, I said I'd tell you about the timeline of Mortal Kombat, not that it was a happy one. Although even the most dedicated Mortal Kombat theologians can't agree on precisely when the Earthrealm War started, we can all agree it was horrific. Even Shinnok wasn't having any fun at this point, since he was being hassled by Lucifer, the ruler of the Netherrealm, and he is really someone who enjoys doing the hassling himself. Behind the scenes, there was another prophecy brewing concerning the One Being and how he could be brought back to life by collecting the 6 Kamidogu and the sacred amulet, albeit at the cost of destroying the realms. This didn't seem ideal to Raiden, who buried the amulet deep in an underground temple and tasked 4 element-based guardians with watching it. This plan would have worked just fine if Shinnok stayed in the Netherrealm where he belonged. But spoiler alert, he didn't. Shinnok met an unscrupulous sorcerer named Quan, who agreed to help him escape in exchange for a place of power at his side. The two quickly set to work laying waste to the Netherrealm, ultimately defeating Lucifer and seizing control. But ruling over a pile of fire and brimstone apparently isn't all that satisfying because Shinnok wanted to conquer the other realms, which was something he had in common with Shao Kahn. The one thing standing between Shao Kahn and Edenia was a sacred tournament hosted by the Elder Gods, a little event known as Mortal Kombat. Hey, that's the name of the franchise. Anyway, the Outworld dominated the tournament, opening a portal between the two worlds and allowing Shao Kahn to take over. But he really went above and beyond in a bad way by eliminating Edenia's ruler, King Gerard, marrying his wife Sindel, and adopting their daughter, Kitana. Seriously, dude, not cool. Kitana was trained in the art of combat, while Sindel tried to take her own life to prevent Shao Kahn from entering Earthrealm. Although noble, the plan didn't work, and Shao Kahn ended up keeping her soul in the Outworld where she couldn't conspire against him. Despite Sindel making her best effort to protect Earthrealm, Shao Kahn was 100% ready to let her sacrifice be in vain by conquering it anyway and adding it to his collection. He commanded the powerful sorcerer Tsung to create a sacred tournament which would pit soldiers from his army against those living in Earthrealm. To make the competition even more exciting, it had one doozy of a grand prize. The champion of Mortal Kombat would be free from aging for the next 50 years, or until the next tournament took place. I wonder how different reality shows would be if they could use that as a prize instead of cash. But Shao Kahn wasn't worried about getting wrinkles, he was worried about getting Earthrealm, and to do that he had to win 10 tournaments in a row. Naturally, Raiden wanted to prevent this at all costs, so he gathered up the top heroes into an organization he called the White Lotus Society. This group sought to find a champion capable of fending off Shao Kahn in the tournament and thus protecting Earthrealm from falling under his control. The great Kung Lao, representing the society, defeated Shang Tsung but spared his life. It was a noble act, but Shang Tsung repaid him by having his pal Goro, let's say, dispose of Kung Lao. Goro then went on to win a further 8 tournaments, bringing his victories to 9, thus leaving him just one more to go until Shao Kahn could take over Earth. Are you on the edge of your seat yet? Good, because this is where the dragon comes in. Or, well, comes back, since I'm talking about Onaga the Dragon King, who wasn't too thrilled about Shao Kahn betraying him all those centuries ago. He worked to restore his physical body, but in the meantime he appeared as an apparition to an up-and-coming warrior named Shujinko. Onaga claimed to be an innocent representative of the Elder Gods named Damashi and convinced Shujinko into gathering the Kamidogu from their locations in the various realms and bringing them to a central point known as the Nexus. Meanwhile, that sneaky Shang Tsung made a deal with Quan, as if there weren't already enough powerful entities bearing down on the Earthrealm. Quan agreed to help Shang Tsung's shadow priests resurrect Sindel in exchange for Shang Tsung giving up the location of Shinnok's long-lost amulet. As if that wasn't bad enough, Quan also had the help of Sub-Zero. See, there was once a family man named Hanzo Hasashi who took a gig working for the Shirai Ryu ninja. The Shirai Ryu and Sub-Zero's Lin Kuei converged on the map to the amulet, and neither Hanzo Hasashi nor his family survived their encounters with Sub-Zero. Although Sub-Zero won the battle, he made a powerful enemy once Quan resurrected Hanzo as Scorpion. Oh, also, Raiden filled him in on what Shinnok having the amulet would mean, which meant Sub-Zero had to go after it once again, this time battling through Shinnok's forces in the Netherrealm, as well as Scorpion and various other monsters. He managed to accomplish this task and secure peace for a little while. But that doesn't tend to last long in this fictional universe. And just because Sub-Zero didn't want Earthrealm destroyed doesn't mean he was a nice guy. Raiden invited him to change his evil-doing ways, but Sub-Zero wasn't interested and in fact dreamed of running the Netherrealm himself one day. This brings us to the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament, and needless to say, the stakes were at an all-time high. The forces of evil gave a good show, but they just couldn't stand against Raiden and the mighty warriors of the Earthrealm. Okay, Raiden wasn't allowed to compete in the tournament, but he was there to provide emotional support, and you can't put a price on that. Liu Kang ultimately became the champion, which meant he got 50 age-free years, and the Outworld's winning streak was reset back to 0. Another major plot point here was the showdown between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, since the latter definitely had a score to settle, and he did so by sending Sub-Zero's soul straight to the Netherrealm. But the evildoers accepted their losses gracefully and, oh wait, no, they weren't happy about this at all. Shao Kahn had his forces attack the Wuxi Academy, destroying most of Liu Kang's fellow monks to let Raiden and the other heroes know that he was displeased with recent events. He could have just sent a strongly worded letter, but I guess this worked too. Liu Kang was so livid, he, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, and Jackson Briggs followed Shao Kahn's forces back to the Outworld, which coincided with a new Mortal Kombat tournament. Shang Tsung decided to offer our heroes a double-or-nothing, winner-takes-all tournament in the Outworld, under the threat that Shao Kahn might just invade Earthrealm anyway. If the heroes won, then there would be no more tournaments or invasions. And if the villains won, it would count as their 10th win, and they'd get to set to conquering Earthrealm. Shao Kahn liked the idea so much, he bumped up Shang Tsung's powers and gave him a total body makeover for the occasion. We also got to see Sub-Zero in action again, although we soon learned it wasn't the original Sub-Zero, but rather his younger brother who took up his mantle after his big brother was defeated by Scorpion last time. Once this became clear, Scorpion actually stepped up to protect the younger Sub-Zero instead of treating him like an enemy. Way to show emotional growth, you lovable undead warrior! There were plenty of great battles, but Liu Kang triumphed again by destroying Shang Tsung, Kintaro, and Shao Kahn. Yeah, he's just that awesome. Less awesome is that shady Shao Kahn, who resurrected Sindel and started to merge the Earth and Outworld together anyway. This kicked off the Battle of Earthrealm as the Mortal Kombat warriors faced down Shao Kahn's forces and Liu Kang had to defeat him yet again. The Outworld fighters were sent packing, and the Earth was safe for, like, 5 minutes, because you know Shinnok can never stop scheming. He launched the second Earthrealm War, kidnapping Sindel and Kitana in what was supposed to be his final triumphant stand. So Raiden gathered up the Earth-based warriors yet again, and yet again they were forced to show the forces of evil who's boss. And, spoiler alert, it's Liu Kang. He sent Shinnok packing back to the Netherrealm and turned down the chance to rule Edenia with Kitana in favor of returning to Earth. Although Kitana lost her king, she did end up squashing her beef with Goro, which was almost as good. Oh, and hopefully you didn't forget about the sorcerer Quan, because he was working hard behind the scenes, pulling some strings, including giving Shinnok a fake amulet. He also convinced Scorpion that younger Sub-Zero was not to be trusted, causing Scorpion to turn on him. And then back again just in time to save Sub-Zero and take Quan Chi down to the abyss with him. Although Scorpion didn't manage to unlock the good ending, Raiden got a nice promotion to Elder God and elevated his protege/younger brother Fujin to the protector of Earthrealm. Since things were going too well for our heroes, well, most of them, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung decided to form a coalition known as the Deadly Alliance, with the shared goal of ruling over the realms. They tried to destroy Shao Kahn, but only ended up taking out his clone, although they didn't realize it at the time. This dangerous duo also tracked down Liu Kang and, unseated him from his Mortal Kombat throne. Raiden did the usual, gather up Earthrealm's greatest heroes minus Liu Kang, and tried to drive back the forces of evil, only this time it didn't quite work out the way he'd hoped. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi were just too powerful and tore everyone down until only Raiden was left. But once he was indisposed, the villains turned on each other just in time for the Dragon King to make a dramatic reappearance. Onaga wanted Shinnok's real amulet from Quan Chi, and the Dragon King entering the battle definitely changed things. Raiden temporarily joined forces with his enemies, but since Onaga had collected the Kamidogu relics and brought back his allies as mindless servants, it didn't go over well. The God of Thunder sacrificed himself to defeat his former friends and the two sorcerers, but just couldn't get rid of the Dragon King. When Raiden was revived, he came back as a much more merciless fighter, and the spirit of Liu Kang was able to bring the heroes of Earth back to their senses. Shujinko, who had unknowingly helped Onaga when he thought that he was a harmless messenger, was plagued with guilt and worked hard to make up for his past mistake. As in, he shattered the Kamidogu and defeated Onaga. Oh hey, remember that pesky prophecy about Armageddon? Well, it was fulfilled when Dagon woke up early and made a mad dash for power over the realms. He attacked Taven while Quan Chi, Shao Kahn, Shinnok, Onaga, and Shang Tsung all linked up. It was the ultimate Forces of Darkness lineup, and even though our heroes had been resurrected by different means, it wasn't looking good. Like Delia had predicted, the brothers fought. Taven triumphed and turned on Blaze, but Blaze was actually taken out by Shao Kahn himself. That's right, Shao Kahn won, but his victory felt hollow when he soon got bored due to a lack of things to conquer. The good news is that Kitana gathered together the remaining realms and their fighters and defeated Shao Kahn once and for all. But the bad news is that in a more real sense, she didn't, since Raiden messed with the time stream. He went back in time to a previous Mortal Kombat tournament, trying desperately to change the future. Eventually, he realized he had to let Shao Kahn win by merging the realms because that would convince the Elder Gods to address the situation. The plan worked in that the Elder Gods buffed Raiden enough to defeat Shao Kahn, but at the expense of most of his friends and the respect and life of Liu Kang. Things did not get better for our boy Raiden either, since he became corrupted and tried to start up a fight with the Outworld. This time, they had to have a tournament to protect the Outworld from the Earthrealm, or more specifically, just Raiden. Although he had gone off the rails, he did trick Cassie Cage into destroying Shujinko, which meant Onaga wouldn't be revived in this timeline, which is, you know what? I'll call it a victory. Then things really got wild with the time stream, so much so that it would need a whole other video to describe it all. But suffice it to say, Raiden got a glimpse of his former benevolent self, realized he needed to work together with Liu Kang, and fused their souls together in order to defeat the Titaness Kronika and protect Earthrealm. Liu Kang took her place as the new Keeper of Time and started a brand new timeline. Raiden decided to live as a mortal, using the rest of his life to help train a new and hopefully less corruptible god. There's a lot of story in this famous franchise, but which part of the timeline is your favorite? Let us know your favorite part about where the tale has been and where you hope it'll go in the future in the comment section. Make sure to click subscribe for more videos from us here at CBR, and we'll see you next time.